Hello all, welcome to Feldy. Farming Simulator 11, almost at 19, Farming Simulator 11, back in the good old days, made by Farmer Yip. And here, well, most of it was made by Farmer Yip. I'll take the credit, or blame rather, for what's going on this island over here. We are almost through with the harvest of the corn over here. We had a massive field, and I kind of did some of this on camera. A little bit of the outer edges, maybe. I can't remember if I started doing this area here. Did the rest of it off cam. It's actually a fairly good sized field, and actually it's probably one of our largest when it comes right down to it. So we've been hauling a little bit of this to the BGA. We've been hauling the rest up to our cattle. I wanted to get some in there. You know, most of our fields are tilled out. We're getting ready for kind of fall field work, if you will. Well, actually, we've done a fair amount of that already. Suffice it to say, this was our last field that needed to be harvested. What was I looking for here? Oh yeah, I was going to show, let me just see here. We have almost 300,000 in our silage clamp for the cattle. I think it was over 300 at the last save. You know, I ended up running out of grass at one point for the cows, and they are going to starve. They have a pasture over there they can eat from, and shoot, we only have 8 of them. But all I know is if you don't have feed, you don't get any milk, so we want to keep the money train rolling in, and yeah, we're $1.6 million at the moment, headed further north as soon as we can. So I have, I don't know what the best way to harvest this field would be. I ended up doing, pulling the trailer behind the harvester unit, for maybe 3 rounds around the outer edges of the field, and then I just started doing back and forth, which is kind of what we would do in real life. There are areas of this field that I think are probably way too steep, but oh well. I think it fits with the decor of the map, so actually let me hop over here to our harvester, get the good old pipe up. I'm going to see if I can hire. I may not be able to hire all of this, but let me see here. Now, if I see the tires so much as budge, all right, I think he's going to remember, and there he's going to wait. All right, let's go to our tractor here. This has really been slurping a lot of fuel to haul from down here, and, you know, I probably definitely should have hauled more silage to the cattle, and I'm trying to remember where I hauled it. You know, I maybe harvested some of it just as good old corn to the kernels, combined it, and maybe should have tucked a little bit more away in silage. I just want to make sure I had the bunker somewhat full so our cattle had something to eat while we're waiting for crops to regrow. But, you know, I like this field, if I do say so myself. I know it's kind of wonky. Oh, shoot, our combine stopped. Okay, so we'll get Pedro here turned around. Like I say, some of it is pretty steep. And not only steep, but sometimes steep to the point where the ground underneath, you know, where you have the header is hitting the ground, and it has kind of not an effect you'd like to have. Let me see, will he remember? Oh, see, those wheels turn. That's a dead giveaway, so I hit 9, so I can try my, there we go. All right, let me get my tractor turned around. And anybody watching this, you know, I would ask again, if you live in Scotland, that's a long shot, that anybody from Scotland would be actually listening to this. Do you have landscape that looks kind of like this, you know, where you have a high vista kind of overlooking the ocean and a farm field up on top of it. I know I've seen some of it in Google Earth, so I don't think it's too far off, but yeah, what would I know? Because when you see all those rocky walls, you just know that a certain part of the island underneath is going to be solid rock, so maybe not much, you know, would grow. But anyway, I was thinking maybe at some point, you know, maybe some of this I would combine. I was thinking maybe it would end up filling the BGA bunker. As it turns out, you know, I ended up taking so much up to the cattle that I don't think I'm even gonna fill so much as a single bunker at the BGA, but you know, that's all right. We're definitely not hurting for money at the moment. Oops, I'm getting my speed presets off. And as I look at this, I'm gonna have to turn the harvester unit around again. We see the barge down below. It would be kind of fun to do a little more timber work, but it's so hard to fit that in on an episode because of the way some idiot designed the thing, having to haul it at pitifully slow miles per hour to get clear to the other side of the map. Oh, it's gonna do that again. Right, hit the 9 key. Off to the races. Yeah, see, we get down to ground level. It isn't too bad, but yeah, there's areas, especially way over here, that were just very, very steep. So, definitely been a fun field to come in here and harvest, and it's also been. Now, what did you do that for? I wonder if it still wasn't close enough. Oh, I got it. Lead the horse to water, can't make him drink. Is that close enough for you? Maybe that's close enough. I do wonder how the combi setup would work with it. As I just opted to do it all longhand, if you will, meaning I drove it myself. Oh, come on. Maybe I could fit all the rest of this just in a single trailer. You know, and as we get closer over here to the wharf, aha, there it is. I was mentioning all the fuel. I ended up installing a fuel fill spot that hopefully will help, although I do have the service truck out here. I've been using it liberally, literally every trip that the tractor goes on, and I think I've refilled the harvester once. It just takes a lot of fuel, and you know, I don't mind. You know, it's one of those costs that helps keep your cash from ballooning too much. It's just one of those annoying ones, but I'll try not to bellyache about that again. Oh, he's probably gonna. I should just be pulling the trailer myself behind this harvester unit. Get him turned around again. Yeah, we got just a little tap. I think this is gonna fit in the trailer. I'm gonna take the rest of this, I believe, to the BGA. No. Always forgets what direction it wants to go. Let me get this turned around. Yeah, this will fit it. No problem at all. In the trailer. This last little dab. I got a couple spots, you know, like over here and there. I don't think I'll fuss with those. I'll just till it under, leave it for the birds or whoever wants to come and get it. And it's, you know, last time, I think when I was recording, it was at nighttime or kind of dusk. And I went well into the nighttime, and then finally it just got so dark. I think it was past 10 o'clock at night, and I just said, screw it. I'm gonna just fast forward. Are you gonna turn around? Turn around. Good lad. Hey, you always wonder how far he looks back. Will he find it? Yes, he is. Spouts the wrong way, though. And then you can see I started basically at 7, I think it was, and here now, we're almost up to 11 o'clock already, so it's been a fair bit of time in here. Not because the harvest takes so long. The part that takes a long time is transport. And I don't know, maybe there was I don't think I've cheated in here with it. I know in later versions there was a mod called TARDIS or Teleport, something like that, where you could zoom yourself clear across a map. Well, don't have that in here, so everything had to be done the good old-fashioned way. Alrighty. Okay, so let me put the course to the BGA on here. So the island field, and I ended up making a course going clear up to the dairy, so I could haul up there and back. And okay, island to BGA, that's the one I want. I probably have enough fuel, but I tell you, I want to first test and see if that little fuel station that I put in down there actually works. And it went so quick. I mean, some of these things, are modding things that take a long time, and then there are some that are just easy. And this is one of the easy ones. I copied it, the one that was on the farm, or duplicated it, and then brought it down here and just pasted it right onto the wharf, where you see it. And so let's see if it has the familiar. There we go. See, you can't see it, but there's a trigger sitting kind of right in here, so yeah, obviously it works just like a charm, so I probably don't need to bring a fuel wagon around anymore. Alright, that is driving to the BGA, so now let me haul the machinery home. That all folded up. Of course, whenever you exit the game, it always unfolds. It is steeper than all get out in here, too. There's kind of a hump. Not really a hump. I don't know. Kind of a little valley. I think I'm going to we'll just fill up here. I don't know why I started driving up here. I'll just fill it with sauce. And, of course, with the magic hose that we have. Now, can I go from here to... I don't know that I have a course from... Let me just see, from the island to the biofuel. No, I don't. I know I got the BGA to biofuel. Well, maybe what I'll do is make one. No reason not to. Right, we'll just set it up. Barrel number 1. Barrel 2. And here we go. Probably not the best piece of machinery to create a route on, but oh well. It'll work. Yeah, I think usually for... Although it does drive quick, so that's kind of handy. But usually for setting up a course, you want something I think that drives pretty stable. We'll make it. We know what we're doing. But now that harvest is done, you may have seen it up there. I already have a tractor sitting up there with a cultivator, so I'm going to rip that out and get it ready to replant. And kind of like I've been mentioning for a couple of episodes, I think our time here on Feldy is winding down. I don't know how many more episodes are left, but the list of things that I wanted to do in here is getting shorter and shorter. I think I do want to replant. I don't know when, if ever, I'll... Whoa. Yeah, that's another problem. I don't know when, if ever, I'll be back in here, but it'd be nice to have the fields replanted. And not only that, but also to be harvestable. You know, one of the things that's still on my short list of things to try is harvesting with some different equipment. You know, whether a hillside combine that I want to try or some other root harvesting equipment. We have the special mission to do in here yet. And, oh, that reminds me, I was going to see whether I have eggs. Oh, except I shouldn't be reading that when I'm trying to set up a course of all things. I may end up bagging this course. Eggs storage. 950. Yeah, see, the night before we... Are our chickens still working on stuff? Let me see. Cattle, biofuel, fertilizer, rock, chicken, idle. Okay. Oh, this is a terrible course. Actually, I'll try sending the Land Cruiser home using this course and see if it makes it. As long as it doesn't end up in the drink, that will suffice. And the hedge needs trimmed again. I think I need to fix the map so that it takes even longer for the hedge to regrow. I'm not really used to that kind of hedge. I have no idea how often it regrows in real life, but seems plenty quick turnaround in here. Alright, I think I'm going to park you. Actually, you know what? I'm going to park you in a... Oh, shoot! Oh, shoot. Okay, you know what? I'm not going to keep this. Stop. I screwed up. I wasn't paying attention. I should have hit stop. Let me put you over here. This maybe isn't where I'll be using it next. Although it sure makes sense. Oop, go down. I want to put in a bunch of potatoes. I'm probably going to put potatoes in this field over here and over here. Maybe I'll put corn again in some of these. It makes sense to have corn close to the BGA. So maybe I'll leave this here so we can harvest with it later. Let's go rescue our tractor here. Yeah, as you can see, I didn't fill the other bunkers hardly with anything. This one here still isn't all the way full. You know, I have half a notion. I was thinking I would, and maybe I will. We'll see. You know, it's small enough that I almost wonder if I should wait to compact it and bake it until I fill it up with product from the other fields with the new harvest. But maybe at some point while I'm waiting, I'll just get it going. Then we have all this in here to deal with. That's something else on my list. I want to deal with the slurry. You know, that's something I haven't done a lot of in Farming Simulator, period. Let me get something for the BGA and just haul this over to biofuel. Oop. Let's see. BGA to biofuel. Got it. Boom. Alright, get on out of here. Now then. So we have all that over there. Oh yes, I gotta bring everybody else home. Where's my land cruiser? Let me just take in the fuel tank, and I'm gonna sidle this down. Wait a minute. I wanted to make a course, right? You know what? Maybe I'll just hold this here. Wow, this is just... Alright, so I'm going to leave that here. Maybe I'll leave my tank out, and I'm going to take a circuit with my handy-dandy cultivator here. Let's just do a circuit around this field, and we'll maybe see kind of the scope here of what we just harvested. And it seems just recently like I already cultivated this field. Probably going too fast. Try to keep some of the grass around the edge. Have to move this. Ended up. Oh, yes, he had some of the problem here with the field too. Is some of it is misshapen, and oops, I'm hitting the wrong key. Some of it is just hard to shape perfectly. Yeah, it's gonna do that again. It just wants to. It's frustrating when it does that, and I think it's because the shape of the ground is such that it can't sit. Yes, he doesn't even want to steer over there. Like if I get down here, if I just put it down, yeah, supposedly it's down, but boy, yeah, that's just kind of being difficult. But yeah, the shape of the ground. We got the same problem kind of over by the biofuel place in the fields, kind of around it. You know, when it comes up near the road, for example, it's just hard to get the cultivator to stay in the field up along the edge. So even Yip, the legend, had difficulty dealing with that aspect of shaping fields. You just can't always tell. And it's kind of hard to tell. As everybody knows, most of the time I play out of cab. But, oh, now the pendulum swings up the hill. Ain't that a good view? Just looking out over things. I think it looks pretty cool. Let's get a little altitude. Down again. I've got a few errant corn stalks hanging around up here. Yeah, the first round is kind of a pickle getting it all going properly. I also discovered a problem. Look at this. Does anybody know what this is? This obviously appears, and I think I noticed that it was filling my trailer quicker when I was harvesting over here. But look at this hard line, where from here over to here, this is not fertilized, this is fertilized. Now, I am pretty certain that I fertilized the whole field. And if I forgot and only partially fertilized it, it for sure wouldn't look like this. You know, you've all seen me with the old fertilizer. I go round and around, and I kind of start on the outside, and it sprays it inward or whatever. So I'm not sure what is going on here and why just part of it was fertilized, but that's kind of been a curious anomaly to me. I try to carefully come along this edge, take out any grass. And I probably should do there's an arch coming, should probably do a script fix to where if, oh my word, this, why won't it sit level? It's just bizarre why it would leave a gap kind of like this. You know, it's like it's confused on how it's supposed to sit when the ground, and maybe the reference point, I wonder if that's what the ground reference point is, and wherever that is on the thing is how it dictates its behavior. I don't know. There's kind of one other high point here. Let's kind of look around. This is just the ocean blue. I guess if this is Scotland, America's way over here where my home is. Just looking out over here. You know, it's up to clip distances on a map as to how far away you can see stuff. I'm impressed we can be way over here and we can still see the fertilizer plant. You know, we can see the biofuel place kind of nestled down in here. Our BGA is over here. We can see the lighthouse. But we cannot see the place where we sell hay, or actually, you know what, we can't even see all the buildings over here. You know, we just parked. Well, this is the header trailer, right? And, oh wait a minute, that's the header trailer. This is the tractor that would have just come from the PGA. There should be buildings here hiding that, and we don't see them because clip distances are what they are. But anyway, I think it's a good view, and it gets treacherously steep down in here. Come on, get up to the edge, you mangy cultivator, you. I don't know if it makes any difference. Going, yeah, now it probably wants to be a pendulum to the lower side of the hill. I mean, this is just bonkers for how steep it is. And even if you could do it in real life, nobody in their right mind would farm this steep a ground right next to a drop off with a one-way ticket to the ocean. Yeah, so here's that fertilizer line again, kind of coming over here. That is just really puzzling. So, and you know, there's been any number of times here where I've had some issues with the map and some other things, so oh, maybe somewhere in there something just happened to the layers for fertilization and something got all cattywampus. Because, you know, I took, as I was making the map, or making the island, and then putting foliage around it, I had to rip open the save game and make some tweaks and updates so that things appeared properly in game, just like how I had them. Kind of like how I had them in the Giants editor, so who knows? Always possible. Matter of fact, very likely that I screwed something up in there. Like I say, this is a large-ish field. We're still trying to get around it. That grass almost looks like it creeps onto the fields. Anybody know anything about this? Maybe it does regrow. I guess part of why I'm trying to be so careful around the outer edge is I'd like to keep the grass there, because I know if, like I was mentioned earlier, if I run over it with a cultivator, it disappears. And I figured it was permanent, so was trying to be extra careful. I could just, well, shoot, if I hired, he'd be flopping down into the ocean, who knows where, so kind of need to set up some bounds so that he behaves himself. Alright, Okay, I may take another round or two at some point. Let me just park him up here. And you know, I'm going to leave this here too as well. Let me go to my other, oops, tractor here. Get it stopped, because we're going to be needing this. I think earlier, oh yeah, we'll be needing this here for harvest season when it comes. You know, I already have the, let me just park it along here. I already have a tractor over in the field ready to go, but this probably isn't too wise, but let me haul him up to, I think I have about to the store. Yeah, alright. Up you go to the store. Alright, and while he's on his way, let me look again. I was starting to look earlier. I wanted to see if, or how many eggs we had. Oops, there was, right? 950? I don't know. You know, I kind of wanted to save that, I think, for the special mission. So, but I don't know how much can be hauled in the little chook box. So while we're hauling up here, let me dump this. Let's go in the store. Will he keep going? Oh, you know what? The camera stops, but he keeps moving. Yeah, see, the camera stops here, and then we... Oops. Yeah, there's some ketchup. All right, well, let's come in here. I was going to look and see if Yip had any vehicles at all for hauling manure or... Okay, I'm going to need a chook box, some for eggs. I don't remember how much it hauls, but I'm going to get one of those, and we're going to store it over by the eggs. I know I could use the one that we're using for fleece, but we are wealthy farmers now, so we'll pick up one of those. And I wanted to see, did he have... I am not seeing anything to haul. Well, maybe this is here. I think I need to use some of the in-game slurry tanker to spread liquid manure. So I think I need one of those. So anything that's fuel. Oh, this is a big boy. Slurry tanker. Okay, so this probably spreads it with, let's see, loading volume 19. How much was this one? 8. Ooh, I don't want the little one. This probably sprays it, and this one down here has these fancy arms or whatever. So I'm gonna want... Where did it go? Let me try one of those. And I want a manure spreader too. Silver Pro, middle size, timber. Nope, here we go. Manure spreader. 14.9. Is this the only manure spreader that we have? Manure. That's 12. Alright, this one's a little bigger. Bigger is better, right? Okay, so we're going to get one of those. Zoom. There we Alright, so we have a few bits of equipment. I don't know. Oh yeah, there's our chook box over there. Anyway, we all heard the bell, so I'm going to leave it there. And I may do some additional work off cam, but we got some other activities here that we'll be doing in a moment. So thank you so much for watching. Hope you're having a great day. I will see you on the next one. Goodbye.